Does Izuku share Ochako's romantic feelings? Of course he does. He liked her before she even liked him. Conceptually, they're supposed to have a mutual crush on each other, but in execution, I don't think the series does a good job of backing that up. The pacing of MHA, especially now, does not lend itself to reflect the moments between the two characters. Moments where they can just be friends or even be friendly with each other, because we simply just don't have time for that. There are obvious exceptions, of course. Like, I love moments like them instinctively trusting each other, like during arcs like joint training or sports festival, and basically every training arc. I love when they know exactly what to give each other for Christmas. I love how during the first act, them in conjunction with Ida were basically inseparable. However, these are tiny moments in an otherwise robust story, micro moments inside of a series with macro-sized dynamics. I mean, we see Izuku grow to be friends again with someone like Bakugo. We see Shoto come out of his shell because of Izuku, inspired to even fight alongside his dad again. Additionally, Izuku and Tomura speak less than Izuku and Ochako do, but their dynamic is thematically enriching. With Ochako, more often than not, it's scarce. For example, Izuku spills out several pages of praise directed at Shinso, how much he's grown and how great he is. We get Bakugo helping him with quirk training. We even get a sports festival callback for Shoto, but we have to wait 2 arcs, weeks in universe time, just for Izuku to even thank Ochako? She risked herself for him, didn't she? There are countless examples like this where Horikoshi misses an opportunity to really grow them as friends, let alone romantic partners. They're not study buddies even though they're in the same class, training buddies even though they're in the same hero course. During Christmas and the New Year's party, they barely talk. They're not even sitting next to each other. They like each other but barely show any effort to consistently be with each other. Which makes no sense because the Horikoshi isn't someone who skips on the details much, that's one. And number two, when was the last time you didn't want to hang out with your crush consistently? She's the hero who saves heroes, but more specifically, the hero who's supposed to save Izuku. But none of that is really earned. When chapter 324 came out, and Ochako yelled, "This is our Hero Academia!" There was a bit of backlash how this dialogue was executed, for obvious reasons. However, other members of the fandom seem frustrated over this backlash. They say, people can't use critical thinking to acknowledge what's really going on, or what's being really expressed. I don't think there's much critical thinking to be had, mostly because it doesn't allow for critical thinking. There is no underlying implied layer because Horikoshi projects every single layer outright. It is explicit to a fault, like much of Act 3 has been. Furthermore, not only is this entire scenario delivered in a way that's very on the nose, but it's pointless on the character level too. Does it serve the purpose of calming the crowd, showcasing the begrudging end of bystander mentality on the micro scale? Yes, I'd say so, but what comes after? What does this do for Izuku no Chako's character? What does it do for their relationship? She falls asleep after the monumental malfunction of her crush, her supposed best friend. And before we can even see them talk, we jump cut to Stars and Stripes. Unfortunate. Then when we cut back to UA, it's apparently been 2 whole days before Izuku and Ochako have even spoken to each other. It's ludicrous that we're supposed to be emotionally invested in a relationship where the 2 correspondents aren't emotionally invested in each other. They're not actively pursuing each other. Izuku is a kid who was marginalized his whole life and is painfully aware of his own shortcomings. And here comes this girl, who is not only the first to ever be nice to him truly, but is so unwilling to negate her own anxieties and defend them in front of an angry crowd later on in his life. This goes beyond a traumatized kid being clingy with those who have affection towards him. He should be dying to personally thank her, but Horikoshi doesn't give him time to reflect on any of that. He makes statements like, "I'm blessed and I need to give those around me a bright future," but he never really accounts for Ochako. He never really factors her in. This looks bad on Ochako's part too. Ochako's whole arc is about making yourself a more active player in society, in hero society, and in the lives of other people. But she doesn't make any effort to truly be a part of Izuku's life, aside from the moments we as the audience are supposed to treat as grand. I love the talk we got. It's exactly what I wanted their interaction to be after the war, but that's the thing. It should have happened right after the war, or at least sooner rather than later. Because I think the topic of saving villains is interesting, and I think the fact that they can both empathize with that is a truly great bonding moment, but it's been their only bonding moment in hundreds of chapters. Am I supposed to feel happy over a talk that took this long to happen? A talk that should have happened ages ago, a talk that should have never even been in the question. A talk that shouldn't have to exist because Izuku and Ochako should literally always be talking. Listen, I like Ochako. I love Ochako. I need more of her. I needed more of her. I needed something that justifies my own bitter attachment.